A Hollywood legend worth hundreds of millions. Torn jeans, faded t-shirt, 3-day stubble, and a bank manager who just ripped his $10 million check in half. She threw the pieces at his chest. "Homeless people don't belong here." She spat. "Security, remove this man." 12 customers watched in silence. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Then the glass door swung open. Her boss walked in, saw the torn paper, saw the man standing there. His face went white. "Mr. Reeves." His voice cracked. "Sir." That one word changed everything, because the man she just humiliated, he was Keanu Reeves. And in 52 minutes, she would learn exactly what that mistake would cost her. This is real. This starts now. 7:15 in the morning, Los Angeles. The Pacific Coast Highway stretches like a silver ribbon beneath the California sun. Keanu Reeves wakes up the same way he has for 30 years. No alarm. Just instinct. Muscle memory from decades of early call times and overnight shoots. His Malibu home is modest by Hollywood standards. No mansion. No fleet of luxury cars. Just a craftsman bungalow with ocean views and a garage full of motorcycles he built with his own hands. He showers. Pulls on whatever clothes are closest. Today that means worn jeans with a hole in the knee, a faded band T-shirt from a concert he attended in 1992, and boots that have seen better decades. His beard is 3 days past needing a trim. His hair falls past his shoulders, uncombed, natural. He looks like a man who sleeps under bridges. He looks like a man the world has forgotten. He looks exactly like himself. Inside his weathered messenger bag sits one check. $10 million. Final payment from Paramount Pictures for his production company, Arch Motorcycle Films. 3 years of development. 2 years of production. 5 passion projects that Hollywood said would never work. They worked. The studio wanted them badly enough to write a check with 7 zeros. Keanu could have done a wire transfer. Could have used mobile deposit. Could have watched the number appear on his phone screen while sitting on his deck, watching the waves. But there is something about walking into a bank, placing a check on the counter, being treated like any other person with money they earned. His mother taught him that. Patricia Taylor, costume designer, single parent, immigrant from England. She raised him on the principle that every person deserves dignity. Every interaction deserves respect. Every human being, regardless of what they wear or where they come from, deserves to be seen. Never let them make you feel small, she told him once, and never make anyone else feel small either. Keanu carries that lesson everywhere. The drive takes 45 minutes. Pacific Coast Highway to Sunset Boulevard to the financial district of downtown Los Angeles. First Heritage Bank, flagship branch, opened 18 months ago in a renovated Art Deco building. Marble floors. Brass fixtures. The kind of place that promises discretion and professionalism. Keanu parks his motorcycle. A 1973 Norton Commando. No helmet hair to worry about. His hair is already a tangled mess. He checks his watch. 12:13. Lunch rush. The bank will be crowded. Witnesses everywhere. He does not know yet why that will matter. Keanu walks through glass doors etched with the bank's logo. The lobby smells like fresh flowers and expensive leather. Soft jazz plays from hidden speakers. A security camera in the corner captures his entrance. Timestamp 12 hours, 16 minutes, 42 seconds. 3 teller windows. 6 service desks. A waiting area with plush chairs that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent. Counter 3 is open. A woman sits there. Mid-40s. Immaculate blonde hair. Designer blazer. Manicured nails painted corporate burgundy. Her name badge gleams under the fluorescent lights. Victoria Sanders. Branch manager. 18 years experience. Keanu approaches. Messenger bag over his shoulder. Check in his pocket. Quiet confidence in his posture. Good afternoon. I would like to deposit this check. He places it on the marble counter. $10 million. Made out to Keanu Charles Reeves. Signed by Paramount Pictures CFO. Dated March 11th. Today is March 14th. Fresh. Legitimate. Real. Victoria Sanders looks at the check. Then she looks at Keanu. Something shifts in her expression. Something subtle but unmistakable. The slight curl of her upper lip, the almost imperceptible narrowing of her eyes. The look. The look that says you do not belong here. The look that says people like you do not have money like this. The look that says I know exactly what you are. Keanu has seen this look before. Not often. Fame usually shields him. But today, without his usual entourage, without the red carpet context, without the movie posters framing his face, he is just a man. A man who looks like he cannot afford his next meal. Is there a problem? His voice is calm, gentle, even. The same voice that has delivered thousands of lines to millions of people. Victoria's smile is professional, practiced. Her words are not. Sir, I am going to need to see some identification. She pronounces, sir, the way one might pronounce, vermin. Keanu provides his California driver's license, current address, photo matches, valid for another 4 years. Victoria examines it, types something into her computer, pauses, types again. Her eyes flick between the screen and Keanu's face, comparing, doubting, dismissing. Do you have another form of identification? Of course. Keanu opens his wallet. Passport. Also current. Also valid. Photo also matches, though his hair was shorter then. Victoria studies it longer than necessary. Holds it up next to his face. The gesture is deliberate. Public. Humiliating. 14 customers in line behind him now. All watching. Some shifting uncomfortably. None intervening. And do you have documentation for this check? Business papers? Tax returns? Keanu's jaw tightens. Just slightly. Just enough. For a standard deposit. Sear. The word drips condescension like poison from a serpent's fang. This is an unusually large amount. We need to verify the source of funds. It is standard procedure. Standard for whom, exactly. But he does not say this. Instead, he reaches into his messenger bag. Business card. Arch Motorcycle Films. Founder and CEO. Letter from Paramount Pictures confirming the acquisition. Press release dated March 11th. Victoria barely glances at them. Do you have tax returns? Bank statements. Proof of income. I have 5 years of financial records. Incorporation documents. Everything legally required and more. He places them on the counter, one by one. Organized. Professional. Anything else you would like to see? Victoria's smile tightens like a wire about to snap. I am just trying to protect you, sir. Fraud is extremely common with checks of this size. People come in here all the time with fake documents. Forged checks, stolen identities. People like me. I did not say that. You did not have to. Victoria picks up her phone, dials an extension. Her voice carries across the lobby, deliberately loud. Security. Can you come to counter 3, please? I have a situation. The word lands like a slap across every face in the room. Situation. Security for a deposit. For a legitimate business transaction. For a man whose only crime is looking like he cannot afford the clothes on his back. Behind Keanu, someone gasps. An elderly woman in line. 70-something. Pearl necklace. Channel handbag. She shifts uncomfortably but does not speak. Nobody speaks. Security officer Marcus Webb approaches. Former military. Broad shoulders. Crew cut going gray. 22 years on the job. He does not draw his weapon. Does not posture. Just stands there. Presence as threat. Everything okay here, Miss Sanders? This gentleman has presented a check that requires verification. Can you wait with him while I make some calls? Wait with him. Like he is dangerous. Like he is a flight risk. Like poverty is probable cause. Keanu reaches into his jacket pocket, slowly, hands visible. Pulls out his phone, places it on the counter, screen up. Victoria notices immediately. Sir, what are you doing? Recording this interaction. You cannot record in here without permission. California is a two-party consent state for private conversations. This is a public business transaction in a public lobby. I do not need your permission. His voice is ice wrapped in velvet. And I am not leaving this counter until this check is deposited or until you provide me with a written explanation for why you are refusing a legitimate transaction. Victoria's face flushes crimson. She is not accustomed to being challenged. Not accustomed to people who look like him knowing their rights. Sir, I am going to need you to step aside so I can serve other customers. New. The word hangs in the air. Simple. Direct. Immovable. Excuse me. I said no. I am not stepping aside. I am not leaving this counter. You are going to process this deposit, or you are going to explain why you are refusing service to a legitimate customer. Victoria stands. Her chair scrapes against the marble floor. Her voice rises, loud enough for every person in the lobby to hear. Sir, this check appears fraudulent. I cannot process it until I verify its authenticity with the issuing institution. Then call Paramount Pictures. Here is their CFO's direct line. Keanu slides a business card across the counter. Victoria does not take it. Instead, she picks up the check, holds it between two fingers like it is contaminated, like touching it might infect her with whatever she believes Keanu to be. Where did you get this? Not earn, not receive. Get. I earned it. From the sale of my production company. What production company? Arch Motorcycle Films. 5 feature films. 3 streaming deals. Distribution in 47 countries. Keanu recites the facts like a witness on the stand. Because that is what this has become. A trial. 14 white, collar jurors watching in uncomfortable silence. Victoria's expression does not change. And what exactly does Arch Motorcycle Films produce? She wants him to perform. To dance. To prove he is worthy of standing in her bank with money she has already decided he could not possibly have earned. Keanu takes a breath. Action films. Character dramas. Independent projects that major studios would not finance. Films about ordinary people facing extraordinary circumstances. Films about dignity, about resilience, about being underestimated. Victoria listens, nods, believes nothing. I am going to need to contact our fraud department. Then contact them. I will wait. Victoria picks up the phone, dials, turns her back to Keanu. Her voice carries across the lobby anyway. Deliberately loud. Yes, hello. I have a customer here with a $10 million check that seems highly suspicious. Can you run a verification? He looks like he should be asking for spare change, not making deposits. The words slice through the marble lobby like shattered glass. Suspicious. Spare change. Behind Keanu, the elderly woman with the pearl necklace draws in a sharp breath. Her hand goes to her mouth. But still, she does not speak. No one speaks. Victoria provides check details, waits, listens. Her expression shifts slightly. Something she hears bothers her. She hangs up, turns back to Keanu. Sir, I have been informed that we need additional documentation before we can proceed. I am going to have to ask you to come back another day with more comprehensive proof of identity and income. What documentation specifically? I have provided everything legally required. Corporate verification, employment history, proof of residence beyond a driver's license. I own my home outright. I have banked with financial institutions for over 30 years. I have provided a passport, a driver's license, business incorporation papers, a letter from the issuing company, and a press release confirming the acquisition. His voice remains calm, measured. But there is an edge now. What more could you possibly need? Victoria's face hardens like cement setting in the California sun. Frankly, sir, I need proof that you are who you claim to be. Because right now, nothing about you suggests that you could legitimately possess a check of this magnitude. Silence. Complete. Devastating. Silence. Keanu looks at her, really looks at her. Sees the judgment calcified behind her eyes. Sees the assumptions dressed up as protocol. What do I look like to you, Miss Sanders? I beg your pardon. You heard me. When you look at me, what do you see? Victoria hesitates. The question is a trap. She knows it. But her contempt outweighs her caution. I see a man who clearly cannot afford basic grooming. I see clothes that belong in a donation bin. I see someone who does not belong in this institution. The words fall like hammers. Do not belong. This institution. Keanu nods slowly. Thank you for your honesty. Victoria blinks. She expected anger, expected defensiveness. She did not expect gratitude. No, let me tell you what I see. Keanu continues. I see a woman who has confused wealth with worth. I see someone who measures human beings by their clothing instead of their character. I see a person who has been doing this job for 18 years without ever learning that dignity is not something you earn. It is something every person deserves simply by existing. Victoria's face twists with fury. I do not have to listen to this. Security. Marcus Webb steps forward reluctantly. Miss Sanders, maybe we should just call the number on that card and verify the check directly. I will handle this my way. She reaches for the check. What happens next will haunt every person in that lobby for the rest of their lives. Victoria Sanders picks up the $10 million check, stares directly into Keanu's eyes, and tears it, not quickly, not in frustration, deliberately, methodically, down the middle. The sound of paper ripping cuts through the jazz music like a scream through silence. Then she tears it again. Quarters. 8 pieces. Someone behind Keanu makes a noise. Shock, disbelief, horror. But no one speaks. No one stops her. Victoria crumples the pieces in her manicured fist, steps around the counter, and throws them at Keanu's chest. Paper rains down onto his faded T-shirt, onto his worn boots, onto the dignity he walked in with 52 minutes ago. This check is obviously fraudulent. Her voice echoes off the marble walls. And you, sir, are clearly attempting to commit fraud. I have seen 100 people like you, grifters, con artists, homeless addicts who find checkbooks in dumpsters and think they have hit the jackpot. She turns to Marcus Webb. Remove this man from my bank. Now, I am calling the police. Keanu does not move, does not bend down to pick up the pieces, just stands there. 14 customers staring, security officer shifting uncomfortably. Victoria Sanders smiling with cold, righteous satisfaction. This is the moment. The moment Keanu Reeves must decide what kind of man he truly is. He bends down, slowly, picks up the torn fragments of his check, his 5 years of work, his proof that passion and persistence can build something meaningful. Places them carefully in an envelope from his messenger bag. Looks at Victoria Sanders. His voice is quiet, deadly calm. The voice of a man who has faced real tragedy and survived. The voice of a man who lost his closest friend to an overdose. Who lost the love of his life and their unborn child in one devastating night. Who rebuilt himself from rubble more times than anyone knows. What is your full name? Victoria Ann Sanders, branch manager. And you need to leave before I have you arrested for trespassing and attempted fraud. Thank you, Miss Sanders. Keanu picks up his phone, takes photographs, her name badge, the torn pieces, the security camera, the timestamp, evidence. Then the door opens. 12:52. Robert Harrison walks through the glass doors in a tailored Italian suit. Regional Vice President. 53 years old. Silver hair immaculately styled. Confidence that comes from 27 years in banking and a corner office overlooking the Pacific. He was not supposed to be here today. Had a lunch meeting 3 blocks away. Client wanted to discuss portfolio diversification. The meeting ended early. Harrison decided to stop by the flagship branch. Check in. See how Victoria was handling the lunch rush. He walks into chaos. 14 customers frozen like statues in a museum of horror. Security officer standing rigidly by counter 3. A man in worn clothes holding an envelope. Paper scattered across the marble floor. And Victoria Sanders, his star branch manager, red-faced and pointing like an avenging angel of judgment. I said get out before I call the police. Harrison's instinct is to support his manager. Trust her judgment. She has been with the bank for 18 years. She knows protocol. She delivers results. But something makes him pause. The man at counter 3. Something familiar about the way he carries himself. The quiet stillness. The unshakable presence. The eyes that have seen everything and judged nothing. Harrison steps closer. Recognition hits like lightning through clear sky. Oh no? Oh God, no. Mr. Reeves. The entire lobby freezes. Victoria's pointing finger drops like a marionette whose strings have been cut. Marcus Webb takes 3 steps backward. Every customer leans forward as if pulled by invisible wire. Mr. Reeves. Harrison's voice cracks. Sir? They know each other. Victoria's mind scrambles to process this impossible information. How do they know each other? Why is the regional vice president using Mr.? Why does his voice sound like that? Terrified, Keanu turns slowly, looks at Robert Harrison. No surprise on his face, just cold, measured assessment. Mr. Harrison. Harrison's eyes drop to the floor. Paper fragments. He recognizes the Paramount Pictures logo, sees the zeros. His blood turns to ice water. What? His voice fails him. He clears his throat, forces the words out. What happened here? Victoria rushes to explain, her words tumbling over each other like stones in an avalanche. Sir, this man attempted to deposit a fraudulent check. $10 million. Obviously fake. He became hostile when I questioned him. Refused to provide adequate documentation. I was forced to refuse the transaction for the safety of the bank. He has been recording without permission and refusing to leave the premises. Stop. Harrison's voice slices through her justification like a blade through silk. Stop talking. Victoria blinks. She has never heard him use that tone. Not with her. Not with anyone. Not in 18 years. Harrison looks at Keanu. Really looks at him. Sees the phone on the counter, still recording. Sees the composed dignity in his posture. Sees exactly what has happened here. Mr. Reeves. Harrison's voice is different now. Careful, respectful, desperate. Sir, could we please speak in my office? Sir. The word detonates in the lobby like a bomb wrapped in 3 letters. Victoria's face drains of color. The customers exchange horrified glances. Marcus Webb looks like he wants the marble floor to open and swallow him whole. Not this gentleman. Not, sir, spoken with contempt. Sir, with weight, with respect, with recognition of exactly who Victoria Sanders just threw paper at. Keanu does not move. Your branch manager just destroyed my property, accused me of fraud, called security on me, compared me to homeless addicts and dumpster divers, threatened to have me arrested. And now you want to discuss this in private. Mr. Reeves, please. I can explain. Explain what? Keanu's voice is still quiet, still controlled, but there is steel beneath the velvet now. Explain why your manager assumed a $10 million check could not possibly belong to someone in worn jeans. Explain why she refused to make one phone call to verify it before tearing it to pieces. Explain why I was required to provide 3 forms of identification while that woman behind me. He gestures to the elegant lady in channel. Provided one. The woman nods, trembling slightly. He is right. I provided only my license for a $75,000 deposit. Harrison's face is white as bone china. He knows exactly what this is, what this looks like, what this will cost. Sir, there has been a terrible misunderstanding. There has been no misunderstanding. Keanu picks up the envelope containing the shattered remains of his check. Your manager understood perfectly. She saw a man who did not fit her definition of wealth, saw clothes that did not match her expectations, saw someone she believed did not deserve the basic respect she extends to every customer in designer suits. And she decided, in that instant, that I was worth less than the paper she was tearing. Victoria tries to speak. I was following protocol for suspicious transactions due. What protocol? Harrison spins on her, his voice rising for the first time. What protocol instructs you to destroy a customer's check before verification? What protocol tells you to call security for a routine deposit? What protocol authorizes you to hurl personal insults at someone based on their appearance? He stops himself, forces calm, turns back to Keanu. Mr. Reeves. Sir, please give me a chance to make this right. Keanu looks at him, at Victoria, at the 14 customers who watched in silence, at Marcus Webb, who followed orders without question, at the pieces of his check in the envelope. You cannot make this right. His voice carries across the marble lobby like a bell tolling midnight. But you can start by removing her from my presence. Harrison does not hesitate. Miss Sanders, my office. Now, Victoria opens her mouth to protest. Harrison's look silences her completely. She walks toward the back of the bank, stiff, humiliated, still not fully comprehending what she has done. Harrison turns back to Keanu. Sir, I apologize. Profoundly. Completely. This should never have happened. I know who you are. I know your work. We have met before, actually. Charity gala for the Children's Hospital 3 years ago. You donated $2 million and stayed to serve dinner to the patients. Keanu remembers. Harrison had seemed decent enough then. Talked about corporate responsibility. About banks serving communities instead of just extracting from them. Ironic. Your speech was very convincing that night, Keanu says quietly. You talked about dignity. About seeing people as human beings first and customers second. About understanding that worth cannot be measured by appearances. Harrison closes his eyes. I meant every word. Did your branch manager receive that message? Silence, Mr. Reeves. Sir, please, may we discuss this privately? I will replace the check immediately. I will personally apologize in whatever manner you prefer. I will do whatever it takes to keep me quiet. Harrison stops mid-sentence. To make amends. Amends. Keanu tastes the word like bitter medicine. Your bank just publicly humiliated me, destroyed my property, accused me of being a criminal, traumatized 14 innocent witnesses, all because your manager believed that dignity has a dress code and respect requires a certain appearance. He pauses. And you want to make amends in private, where no one can hear, where I sign something and disappear. That is exactly what this is. Keanu picks up his phone, stops the recording. 52 minutes and 23 seconds. I am leaving now. I will deposit what remains of this check at a different institution, one that treats human beings like human beings. Mr. Reeves, please. At least let me replace the check directly. You cannot replace it. This check was issued by Paramount Pictures. You lack the authority to reissue their payment. What you are offering is your bank's own funds, which means your bank would be assuming their debt to me, which means you are attempting to create a financial transaction that gives you control over the narrative. That gives you leverage. Harrison stares. This is not a man he can patronize. This is not someone who needs banking explained to him. This is someone who understands exactly what is happening and has chosen to refuse every convenient exit. Keanu continues. Here is what will happen next. I will contact Paramount Pictures. They will reissue the check. I will deposit it elsewhere, and then I will decide what to do about today. He gestures at the lobby. The scattered fragments. Victoria Sanders visible through the glass office walls, pacing like a caged animal. What do you mean, what to do? Keanu looks at Harrison, really looks at him. Sir. He uses the word deliberately now, pointedly. Do you honestly believe this is the first time your branch manager has treated someone this way? Do you truly think I am the first person she has judged unworthy based on their appearance? The first human being she has dismissed as worthless because they did not dress the part? Harrison's silence is answer enough. That is what I thought. Keanu walks toward the glass doors, stops, turns back one final time. One more thing. That woman behind me in line. She witnessed everything. Get her statement. Get her contact information. Because if your bank attempts to characterize today as anything other than exactly what it was, she will testify. The elderly woman steps forward. Her hands are shaking, but her voice is steady as granite. My name is Eleanor Mitchell, account number 87439621. I have banked with First Heritage for 33 years. I watched everything that happened today. That young man did absolutely nothing wrong. Your manager judged him by his clothes and treated him like garbage. She writes her phone number on a deposit slip. Hands it to Keanu. If you need a witness, you call me. What happened today was disgraceful. Keanu takes the paper, nods, thanks her quietly, walks out through the glass doors, into the California sunshine. Behind him, Robert Harrison stands in the marble lobby. Paper fragments scattered across the floor. 14 customers staring with mingled horror and fascination. Eleanor, Mitchell looking at him with 3 years of disappointed trust. And through the glass office walls, Victoria Sanders waiting for him to fix this. He cannot fix this. The word "sir" arrived 52 minutes too late, and Robert Harrison knows, with the certainty of a man watching his career crumble in slow motion, exactly what comes next. Lawyers, media, investigation, everything he spent 27 years building. Threatened by one branch manager's prejudice and his own 45-second delay in recognizing a face he should have known from 1,000 movie screens. He bends down slowly, picks up the fragments of the check, $10 million in 8 pieces. The most expensive mistake his bank has ever made. Keanu sits in the parking structure for 20 minutes. Engine off. Helmet in his lap. Hand steady. He is not shaking from fear. He is not shaking from anger. He is simply still. The recording sits in his phone. 52 minutes. Every word. Every assumption. Every moment of casual cruelty. He could delete it. Could call Paramount, get the check reissued, find a different bank, move forward with his life. Could pretend today never happened. Could teach anyone watching that silence is safer than speaking up. His phone buzzes. Unknown number. He ignores it. Text message follows immediately. Mr. Reeves, this is Robert Harrison. Please call me. I need to make this right. Keanu reads the message. Deletes it. His phone buzzes again. Same number. He answers. Says nothing. Mr. Reeves, it is Robert Harrison. Please do not hang up. Silence. I know you must be. I cannot imagine what you... Please, give me a chance to explain. To apologize properly. Before you make any decisions you might regret. Decisions I might regret. Kanu's voice is calm. Almost gentle. Like contacting an attorney. Like speaking with journalists. Like telling people exactly how your bank treats human beings who commit the crime of not dressing well enough. Mr. Reeves, please. I understand you are upset. No, you do not. Keanu stares at the concrete wall of the parking structure. Here is what I understand, Mr. Harrison. Your branch manager did not wake up this morning and spontaneously decide to humiliate someone based on their appearance. This is learned behavior. This is institutional. This is judgment dressed up as procedure. Protection weaponized against anyone who does not fit a particular mold. It is not institutional. Victoria acted alone. She made a terrible individual decision. Did she? Silence on the line. Because from where I am sitting, your bank just demonstrated exactly what it thinks people like me are worth. People who do not wear the right clothes, who do not present the right image, who commit the unforgivable sin of looking like they might need help instead of offering deposits. That is not what we believe. Then prove it. Harrison pauses. What do you mean? I want Victoria Sanders' complete employment file. Every customer complaint against her. Every performance review. Every incident report. I want to know if today was her first time, or if I am simply the first person she chose poorly enough to target. I cannot share personnel files. That information is confidential. Then I will obtain them through legal discovery. The word, discovery, lands like a stone in still water. Harrison's greatest fear, confirmed. Mr. Reeves, sir, please let us meet in person, face to face. Give me one chance to demonstrate that we take this seriously. To show you what we are prepared to do. Keanu considers. The recording is leverage, but leverage only works if the other party understands what you hold, what you are willing to do with it. Tomorrow, 10 in the morning, the coffee shop on 3rd Street near the Broad Museum. You know the one? Yes, I will be there. Thank you, Mr. Reeves. Thank you for... Keanu hangs up before the platitudes can continue. He rides home slowly. The Pacific Coast Highway unfurls beneath his wheels like a meditation. His house is quiet when he arrives. No one waiting. No one to tell. He sits at his desk, opens his laptop. Searches, banking discrimination, Los Angeles. Results flood the screen like a tide of injustice. Articles, lawsuits, settlements. Pattern after pattern of customers treated as suspects, denied service, questioned excessively, humiliated for the crime of not fitting expectations. He searches. First Heritage Bank complaints. Fewer results. The bank is skilled at keeping things quiet. But there is a thread buried in a forum. Anonymous post from 14 months ago. Has anyone else had problems with First Heritage Bank in LA? Manager treated me like a criminal because I came in wearing work clothes. Made me provide 6 forms of documentation for a $3,000 deposit. I work construction. My white coworker deposited $5,000 the same week. Showed his license and that was it. Replies 11. Similar stories. Different branches, different employees. Same pattern, same judgment, same assumptions. Keanu screenshots everything, creates a folder, begins building a file. His phone buzzes. Email from an old friend, Jonathan Walker, civil rights attorney. They met at a motorcycle rally 8 years ago. Stayed in touch. Professional respect built on shared values. K? Saw your name trending in some banking circles. Everything okay? Call if you need. Keanu stares at the message. Jonathan Walker, 16 years experience, specializes in discrimination cases. Employment, housing, public accommodations. He types a response. Need to talk. Available tonight. The reply comes in 40 seconds. Call me now. Keanu calls. Jonathan Walker. John. It is Keanu. I need an attorney. What happened? Keanu tells him everything. The questions. The security. The torn check. The word, sir, arriving 52 minutes too late, the recording. All of it. Silence on the line. Then, you have the recording? Yes. Witnesses? 14 customers. One provided contact information directly. Send me everything. Tonight, I am taking this case. I do not want money, John. I have money. What I want is accountability? Keanu? You might get both. But I need to be clear with you. If we pursue this publicly, it will be public. We file complaints. We demand investigations. We make noise. Because quiet complaints generate quiet settlements, and nothing ever changes. I know. Are you prepared for that? Your name in headlines. Connected to a discrimination lawsuit. People taking sides. Keanu thinks about his mother. About the lesson she taught him all those years ago. Never let them make you feel small. Never make anyone else feel small. I am prepared. Good. I will draft complaints for the State Banking Commission, possibly federal as well. This could be a Civil Rights Act violation. Send me the recording, the witness contact, and a detailed timeline. You will have it within the hour. One more thing. The bank will try to settle. Quickly, quietly, generously. They will promise change and ask for your silence. I know. And Keanu looks out his window. The Pacific Ocean stretches to the horizon, vast and indifferent. I am not interested in silence. Jonathan's voice carries something like admiration. Then let us make some noise. They hang up. Keanu sends the files. Recording. Eleanor Mitchell's contact information. Timeline. Photographs. Everything. Then he does something he was not planning to do. He opens Instagram. 47 million followers. People who know his work, his charity, his quiet decency. The post is simple. Today I walked into a bank with a $10 million check. I walked out with torn paper and a reminder that appearances shape assumptions. I am sharing this because silence protects systems, and I am done protecting systems that do not protect people. He does not name the bank, does not post the recording. Just the truth. Simple, clear, undeniable. He hits post. Within 1 hour, 800,000 likes, 90,000 comments, 40,000 shares. People he has not spoken to in years reach out. This has happened to me too. Thank you for saying something. I thought I was alone. 7 journalists send direct messages. Local television, Los Angeles Times, NPR. Keanu responds to 1. Maria Santos, Los Angeles Times, investigative journalist. Her profile shows 4 years covering institutional discrimination, banks, insurance companies, corporations. I would like to hear your story. Off the record first if you prefer. They meet the following day. Coffee shop. Neutral ground. Maria brings credentials. a portfolio of investigations, 5 financial institutions held accountable through her reporting. I am not here to sensationalize, she says. I am here to document. Keanu shows her the recording, the torn check fragments, Eleanor Mitchell's information. Maria listens, takes notes, asks careful questions. No judgment, no performance, just documentation. This is not only about you, she says finally. You realize that? I know. If we publish this story, other people will come forward. People who had similar experiences and stayed silent. This could become much larger than one torn check. Good. Maria studies him. You are certain, once this becomes public, there is no reversal. The bank will fight back. They will hire reputation management firms. They will attempt to reframe the narrative, to make this about anything except what it actually is. Let them try. All right, I will need to verify everything independently. Interview witnesses. Get the bank's official response. This process takes time, perhaps 2 weeks. Take whatever time you need. They part ways. Keanu goes to his meeting with Robert Harrison. 3rd Street Coffee Shop, 10 in the morning. Harrison arrived 20 minutes early. Ordered coffee, rehearsed his presentation, prepared his concessions. Keanu sits down across from him, says nothing. Harrison begins. Mr. Reeves, thank you for coming. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I know yesterday was... I cannot begin to imagine what you experienced. I want you to understand that we are taking this situation with the utmost seriousness. Are you? Yes. Victoria Sanders has been placed on immediate administrative leave, pending a complete internal investigation. We are reviewing every aspect of the incident. We are implementing enhanced sensitivity training across all branches. We are committed to ensuring that nothing like this ever happens again within our organization. What investigation? Harrison blinks. Pardon. You mentioned an internal investigation. What exactly are you investigating? Whether your manager tore up my check. I have video evidence. 14 witnesses. What remains to investigate? One need to understand what led to her decision. What factors contributed to her judgment in that moment? What led to her decision was my appearance. Kainu's voice is level as a frozen lake. She looked at my clothes and decided I did not deserve respect. She looked at my hair and decided I must be lying. She looked at everything about me except my credentials and concluded that I was worthless. I do not believe Victoria is inherently prejudiced. I believe she made a catastrophic error in judgment. I believe she was trying to protect the bank from fraud and... You believe that explanation makes this better. Keanu leans forward slightly. That she humiliated me out of corporate caution rather than personal contempt. Do you understand how many times I have heard that defense? I am not prejudiced. I am just careful. I am not judgmental. I just have standards. I am not discriminating. I am just doing my job. I am not making excuses. That is precisely what you are doing. You are making this about her intentions rather than my experience. You are prioritizing protecting her over acknowledging harm. Harrison is silent. Keanu continues. Here is what I want to know. How many complaints has Victoria Sanders received from customers over the years? Specifically, how many complaints from customers who did not fit her apparent definition of worthy? I cannot share personnel information. It is legally protected. Then I will obtain it through other means. Discovery, public records requests, subpoenas. My attorney specializes in cases like this. He has done this before. Harrison's face goes pale as morning fog. Keanu, Mr. Reeves, please. Let us not make this adversarial. Allow me to make this right. We will compensate you generously for your experience. We will ensure Victoria receives appropriate consequences. We will implement whatever oversight you suggest. Whatever I suggest. Keanu's eyes are steady. I suggested basic human respect. I suggested a 30-second phone call to verify my check before your manager destroyed it. I suggested the word "sir" before the damage was done, not after. That word again. Sir. It sits between them like a weapon neither can disarm. I am sorry. Harrison says it quietly, and for the first time, he sounds like he means it. I am sorry I was not there sooner. I am sorry it took me 45 seconds to recognize you when I walked through those doors. I am sorry those 45 seconds cost you something I can never restore. Keanu regards him, sees genuine remorse, also sees calculation. Harrison knows legal action is coming, knows media coverage is coming, knows this conversation represents his final opportunity to contain the explosion. Your apology does not change what happened, but I acknowledge it. Keanu stands. I will be filing a formal complaint with the California Department of Business Oversight. I will be sharing my experience publicly, and when other people come forward with similar stories, and they will, I will support them. Keanu, wait. Harrison's voice cracks. Please, what if we settle this privately? Name any amount. We will make this right. We will do whatever you ask. Just quietly, without accountability, without systemic change, without anyone learning what your institution does to people who fail to dress appropriately. Keanu picks up his helmet. You called me Zer yesterday, after your branch manager hurled my check at my chest. After she accused me of being a criminal, after she humiliated me in front of 14 strangers. He meets Harrison's eyes. You called me Zer, when it was far too late to matter. Harrison says nothing. Next time, with the next person who walks into your bank looking like they do not belong, the next human being your employees decide is unworthy based on their appearance. Keanu walks toward the door. Maybe try saying it sooner. He leaves. Behind him, Robert Harrison sits with cold coffee and the crushing knowledge that one word, spoken 52 minutes too late, will follow him for the rest of his career. April 9th. Maria Santos's article goes live. Los Angeles Times. Front page of the digital edition. Worth more than his clothes, one torn check, 52 minutes of audio, and a question about who deserves respect. The article includes Keanu's account. Eleanor Mitchell's witness statement. Excerpts from the recording, not the complete 52 minutes, but enough. Victoria Sanders' voice. People come in here all the time trying to scam us. You look like you should be asking for spare change. The sound of paper tearing. Keanu's measured response. What is your full name? The door opening. Robert Harrison's voice, cracking with recognition. Mr. Reeves. Sir? Maria's analysis is surgical and devastating. The word Zer arrived at minute 52. The humiliation began at minute 1. The question every institution should ask: why did basic respect require recognition? By noon, 600,000 views. By evening, 2.3 million. The comment section becomes a cathedral of testimony. Real people. Real stories. Same pattern. First Heritage 2021. Made me provide pay stubs and tax returns for a $1,500 deposit. I was wearing my hospital scrubs. I am a surgeon. Victoria Sanders denied my small business loan. Called my proposal unrealistic. I own 3 restaurants. Different branch, same treatment. Made me wait 50 minutes while they verified my employment. I am a federal judge. She looked at my wheelchair and asked if I really understood what I was signing. The pattern is undeniable. 20. 3 people share contact information publicly. Want to be witnesses. Want their stories heard. Want to stop being invisible. Jonathan Walker files formal complaints with the California Department of Business Oversight and the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Case number DBO 2020-4-1742. Complainant Keanu Charles Reeves. Nature of complaint: discrimination based on socioeconomic presentation, destruction of customer property, denial of service without legitimate cause, violation of fair banking laws. The department opens an immediate investigation, issues public statement. All financial institutions operating in California are subject to strict fair lending and fair service regulations. This complaint will receive thorough and impartial investigation. First Heritage Bank responds. Corporate communications. Carefully crafted. What take these allegations extremely seriously. Miss Sanders has been suspended pending comprehensive internal review. We remain firmly committed to diversity, inclusion, and respectful service for all customers regardless of background. The statement is careful. Does not admit wrongdoing. Does not apologize to Keanu specifically. Does not address the systemic pattern. Comments beneath their statement multiply like wildfire. Suspended after you got caught. What about the 23 other people? Diversity commitment. The only diversity here is in how many ways you discriminate. Keanu's Instagram post has reached 89 million impressions. People he has never met expressing solidarity. Business leaders pledging support. 18 speaking invitations. 12 podcast requests. He declines most. Accepts one. NPR's All Things Considered. The interview runs 17 minutes. Keanu's voice remains measured throughout. No anger. No bitterness. Just truth. Host. What were you feeling when she destroyed your check? Keanu pauses. I was feeling what many people feel every day. The exhaustion of being measured by appearance rather than character. The weight of having to prove you belong in spaces where something about you raises questions before your credentials can provide answers. Host. And when Mr. Harrison walked in and said, "Sir," Keanu pauses again. Longer this time. I felt like he was apologizing to the wrong version of me. He was extending respect to the person he recognized. The actor, the public figure. But he should have been extending it to the person his employee had just humiliated. Because respect should never require recognition. It should be the starting point, not the destination. The clip spreads across every platform. The phrase, "respect should never require recognition," trends worldwide, becomes a hashtag, becomes a movement, becomes something larger than one man and one torn check. April 12th. Brandon White breaks his silence. Keanu's phone rings at 7 in the morning. Unknown number. Mr. Reeves. My name is Brandon White. I was a customer at First Heritage in 2022. Victoria Sanders denied my mortgage application. Told me my income was inconsistent with my presentation. I complained. The bank paid me $60,000 to sign a non-disclosure agreement and disappear. Keanu remembers the comment threads, the patterns. And now? Now I watched your interview. Watched you stand up when I stayed silent. I realized my silence protected them, protected a system that hurt me and kept hurting others. Breaking an NDA carries serious consequences. I know. But watching you refuse to be quiet made me understand something. My silence was not protecting me. It was protecting them. And I am done protecting people who see human beings as problems to be managed. Send your information to my attorney. I will make sure he contacts you. Mr. Reeves. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for not staying quiet. The calls multiply. By April 18th, 37 people have contacted Jonathan Walker. Different years, different branches, different employees. Same pattern. Not all involving Victoria Sanders directly, but all involving assumptions, excessive scrutiny, hostile treatment. The California Department of Business Oversight expands investigation scope. No longer just Keanu's complaint. Now institutional review. All First Heritage branches in California. 8 years of complaints. Pattern analysis. Timeline 90 days for preliminary findings. First Heritage Bank's stock drops 11% in 1 week. Not catastrophic, but enough. Board members demand answers. Investors demand accountability. April 20th, anonymous email arrives at Maria Santos' inbox. Subject line, "You need to see this." Attachment PDF file, 64 pages. Customer Risk Assessment Protocol version 4.1. Internal Training Manual. Dated September 2022. Marked, confidential, management only. Maria opens it, starts reading. By page 15, she is calling Keanu. Someone inside the bank sent this. Whistleblower. Will not identify themselves yet, but look at section 3. Keanu reads. Enhanced due diligence triggers. The list includes deposits exceeding $25,000 from non-established customer profiles, transactions from elevated risk geographic areas, customers whose Presentation appears inconsistent with transaction magnitude. Appendix D lists the elevated risk geographic areas. Keanu recognizes the zip codes. South Los Angeles, East Los Angeles, Compton, Inglewood, predominantly Black and Latino neighborhoods. The policy does not say, discriminate by race. It does not need to. The effect is identical. Section 4. Inconsistent customer presentation indicators. Clothing that appears significantly below the value threshold of the transaction. Grooming that suggests potential lifestyle instability. Demeanor that indicates unfamiliarity with banking procedures. Code words. Dog whistles. Discrimination dressed in corporate language. Section 7 Performance Metrics. Branch managers demonstrating proactive fraud prevention will receive quarterly bonuses proportional to identified high-risk situations. Keanu Cross references dates. Victoria Sanders received $14,000 in bonuses over 22 months for identifying 31 high-risk situations. 28 of those situations generated formal complaints. 26 complaints came from customers who were later described as presenting inconsistently. Victoria Sanders was not a rogue employee making poor decisions. She was a star performer executing company policy. This is not about one branch manager. Maria says quietly, this is institutional design. Does Jonathan know? Sending it now. Jonathan Walker receives the documents, reviews them for 3 hours, calls Keanu. This changes everything. We are not suing for individual discrimination anymore. This is systemic, intentional. This goes to board level. Can we prove board knowledge? Working on it. But these training materials did not write themselves. Someone approved them. Someone budgeted the bonuses. Someone decided inconsistent presentation was acceptable screening criteria. That is not Victoria Sanders. That is corporate strategy. April 22nd, Maria Santos publishes follow-up investigation. Inside the system, leaked documents reveal discrimination by design at First Heritage Bank. The article includes excerpts from the training manual, analysis of the geographic targeting, Victoria Sanders performance reviews, the direct connection between bonus compensation and complaint volume. Her conclusion is devastating. First Heritage Bank did not have an employee problem. They had a policy problem. Discrimination was not a failure of their system. It was a feature. Reaction is immediate. Banking industry associations distance themselves. California Attorney General announces independent investigation. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau initiates federal review. First Heritage stock drops 19%. Largest single-day decline in company history. April 24th. Bank attempts damage control. CEO Richard Morrison holds emergency press conference. Prepared statement. Crisis management firm coaching him through an earpiece. We are shocked and deeply disturbed by these allegations. The training materials in question were implemented by a former regional director without proper board oversight. They do not reflect our corporate values or our commitment to serving all customers equally. We have immediately suspended the program and launched comprehensive review of all policies and procedures. Reporter question. If the board did not approve these materials, who did? Morrison. Why are investigating the full approval chain? I cannot comment on ongoing internal processes. Reporter. The training manual is dated 2022. It has been operational for over 2 years. How is it possible the board was unaware? Morrison. We are reviewing all internal documentation. A reporter. The documents show performance bonuses directly tied to discrimination complaints. Are you saying executive leadership did not know employees were being paid to discriminate? Morrison. I cannot comment on specific personnel matters. Reporter. Mr. Reeves stated that the regional vice president only showed respect after recognizing him as a celebrity. Does First Heritage train employees to calibrate respect based on recognition? Morrison stares at the reporter. Silent for 8 seconds. 8 seconds that feel like 8 hours. Of course not. Mr. Harrison's response was appropriate once he understood the full context of the situation. Reporter. So the situation required understanding before basic respect was warranted. The exchange goes viral within 20 minutes. Morrison's inability to answer becomes the story. The clip. The situation required understanding before respect. A proof that even under pressure, even with crisis managers in his ear, the CEO cannot see the fundamental problem. Respect calibrated by recognition. Dignity earned by appearance. Worth measured by wealth. April 26th. The 37 victims become 53. 16 more current and former employees come forward. We were trained this way. We thought it was just procedure. I raised concerns once. Was told I was being oversensitive. I quit last year because I could not keep doing it. One former employee provides additional documentation. Rachel Torres, compliance analyst, 12 years with the company. Email chains showing internal discussions about minimizing complaint visibility. Settlement agreements with confidentiality clauses. Statistical analysis demonstrating that 84% of discrimination complaints originated from customers flagged as presentation inconsistent, despite representing only 29% of total customer interactions. Rachel Torres' statement. I tried to raise concerns through proper channels. Multiple times. I was told that settlements were more cost-effective than policy changes. I was told that our approach was industry standard. I resigned 9 months ago. I should have resigned sooner. I should have spoken sooner. Jonathan Walker files amended complaint. No longer individual case. Now class action, pattern and practice discrimination, Civil Rights Act violations, federal fair lending violations, requests institutional reform, third, party oversight, public disclosure of all settlements since 2018. Damages uncapped. California Department of Business Oversight announces public hearing. May 15th, live streamed. All parties required to testify under oath. Keanu will testify. Victoria Sanders will testify. Robert Harrison will testify. CEO Richard Morrison will testify. And the nation will watch. May 3rd. Keanu receives registered letter. Law firm of Morrison, Blake and Associates, representing First Heritage Bank. Settlement offer? Confidential terms. $4.2 million. Full non-disclosure agreement. Withdrawal of all complaints. Agreement never to disparage the bank or any of its employees. Keanu shows Jonathan. They are terrified. Jonathan says. They know the hearing will destroy them. They are hoping money purchases your silence. What do you think I should do? I think $4.2 million is life-changing money. I think this is your choice to make. I think nobody would criticize you for accepting. Keanu looks at the letter, at the number, at the word confidential, thinks about the 53 other victims, about the word sir, arriving too late, about training manuals teaching people that dignity has a dress code, about his mother telling him never to make anyone feel small. No. Jonathan smiles. Good. Because we are about to win something far more valuable than money. May 15th. California Department of Business Oversight. Conference Room A. Every seat filled. Overflow watching via live stream. 92,000 viewers at opening. Commissioner Patricia Williams presiding. 23 years on the commission. Reputation for fairness. Reputation for thoroughness. This case is unlike anything she has seen. 9 in the morning. Hearing commences. Commissioner Williams. Why are convened to investigate complaints of discriminatory practices at First Heritage Bank. This is an evidentiary hearing. All testimony will be given under oath. Audio and video recording is permitted. A 9:45. Victoria Sanders called, sworn in. Her attorney, expensive, from Morrison Blake, sits beside her. Jonathan Walker conducts examination. Miss Sanders. On March 14th of this year, you refused to process a deposit from Keanu Reeves. Why? The amount seemed inconsistent with the customer's presentation. Inconsistent in what way? The check was very large. We have protocols for verification of large transactions. Did you contact Paramount Pictures to verify the check before refusing it? Silence. Miss Sanders, yes or no? Did you contact the company whose name appeared on the check before you destroyed it? No. How many forms of identification did you request from Mr. Reeves? 3. Is that standard for large deposits? Was. For transactions of that magnitude, how many forms of identification do you typically request from customers depositing amounts between $50,000 and $100,000? It depends on the situation. Jonathan introduces evidence. Video footage from bank security cameras dated March 14th. Timestamp showing 4 customers depositing amounts between $65,000 and $120,000 that same day. Each provided one form of identification. Each was processed in under 12 minutes. Miss Sanders, these 4 customers deposited more than Mr. Reeves initially presented. They provided one form of ID each. He provided 3. And you still refused to process his transaction. Why? Each situation is different. What was different about Mr. Reeves' situation? Victoria's attorney objects. Relevance. The witness has already explained her reasoning. Commissioner Williams, overruled. She may answer. Victoria Sanders looks at the camera. Knows 97,000 people are watching. His presentation raised concerns. His appearance suggested that a check of that magnitude might not be legitimate. What about his appearance specifically? His clothing was worn. His grooming was unkempt. He did not look like someone who would possess a $10 million check. The room is silent. Jonathan introduces the training manual. Have you seen this document before? Yes. Did you receive training based on this document? Yes. Page 23. Inconsistent customer presentation indicators. What does that phrase mean? Customers whose appearance or demeanor seems inconsistent with their transaction. And Mr. Reeves' presentation was inconsistent because he wore old clothes and had long hair. Silence. Miss Sanders. Wes. So you were trained to judge customers by their appearance, and you judged Mr. Reeves. And based on that judgment, you destroyed his property and accused him of being a criminal. Victoria's attorney objects again. Counsel is testifying. Commissioner Williams, sustained. Mr. Walker, please rephrase. Jonathan nods. Miss Sanders, did you or did you not destroy Mr. Reeves' check before making any attempt to verify its authenticity with the issuing company? Wes? Did you or did you not call him a criminal in front of 14 other customers? I said the check appeared fraudulent. And when someone presents a fraudulent check, what does that make them? Silence. Miss Sanders, what does that make them? A criminal? So you called him a criminal. Wes? Based on his clothes. Victoria Sanders stares at the table. Yes. E11:15. Robert Harrison testifies, sworn in. Visibly nervous. Sweat on his forehead despite the cool room. Mr. Harrison, you arrived at the branch at approximately 12:52. What did you observe? I saw Mr. Reeves standing at counter 3. I saw paper on the floor. Miss Sanders appeared agitated. When did you recognize Mr. Reeves? Almost immediately. What did you say? I said, Mr. Reeves. Harrison hesitates. And then I said, sir? Why did you use that word in that moment? It is respectful. Did Miss Sanders use the word sir when addressing Mr. Reeves? I believe she did. She did, multiple times. But in what tone? I was not present for the entire interaction. Jonathan plays audio recording. Victoria's voicey. Sir, this check is obviously fraudulent. Sir, you need to leave this premises immediately. Mr. Harrison. Miss Sanders used sir as dismissal. As contempt. You used it as respect. What changed? I recognized who he was. So respect came with recognition. No, Mr. Harrison. Simple question. If you had not recognized Mr. Reeves as a famous actor, would you have extended the same respect? Silence. Then, quietly, I do not know. That is the problem, is it not? Respect calibrated by recognition. Dignity conditional on fame. Worth measured by appearance. Jonathan pauses. The word sir should not require recognition, Mr. Harrison. It should be the default. Harrison says nothing. There is nothing to say. 1:30 in the afternoon. Richard Morrison testifies. CEO, 29 years with the company. Final 5 as chief executive. He looks older than his photographs. Mr. Morrison, were you aware of the training materials marked Exhibit D? I was not personally involved in their development. That was not the question. Were you aware they existed? I may have seen summaries. Summaries. So you knew your company was training employees to judge customers by appearance. The materials were designed for fraud prevention. Be targeting customers who present inconsistently. By flagging transactions from specific zip codes. By rewarding employees who identified high-risk situations. You knew this. The board reviews policies at a high level. We do not approve every operational document. But you approve the bonus structure. $14,000 to Victoria Sanders over 22 months for proactive fraud prevention. You approved that. Performance incentives are standard in our industry. Performance incentives for discrimination. Morrison's attorney objects. Commissioner Williams, overruled. The witness may answer. Morrison clears his throat. One did not intend for these materials to be used discriminatorily. But they were. Apparently. 53 complainants. 8 years of documented incidents. Settlements totaling over $2 million. All while your stock price rose and your executives received bonuses. You profited from discrimination, Mr. Morrison. That is not. The training manual says inconsistent presentation. The zip code list targets minority neighborhoods. The bonus structure rewards exactly what Victoria Sanders did. This is not an accident. This is architecture. Morrison has no response. 3:15 in the afternoon. Keanu testifies he requested to go last, wanted the final word. Sworn in. Calm. Centered. 114,000 people watching. Jonathan asks baseline questions. Timeline facts. Documentation. Then, Mr. Reeves. When Mr. Harrison walked in and said, "Sir, what did you feel?" Keanu looks at the camera. At the 114,000 strangers watching. At everyone who has ever been judged by their appearance and found wanting. I felt like respect was being offered to the wrong version of me. The version he recognized. The actor. The public figure. But respect was not offered to the version of me that walked in 52 minutes earlier. The man in worn jeans with uncombed hair. He pauses. That version did not receive Zur until he was identified. And that is the problem. Dignity should not require credentials. Respect should not require recognition. The word Zur should be there from the beginning. Not as apology, as default. Silence. Even the live stream comments stop scrolling. Commissioner Williams speaks. Mr. Reeves, what outcome are you seeking from these proceedings? Keanu takes a breath. I want the training materials destroyed. Every copy. I want independent oversight of this institution for a minimum of 5 years. I want every complaint from the past decade reviewed and every victim appropriately compensated. I want transparent reporting of discrimination incidents. And I want assurance. He pauses. Assurance that the next person who walks into First Heritage Bank, regardless of what they are wearing, regardless of how they present, regardless of whether anyone recognizes their face, receives basic human respect from the first moment. Not the 52nd minute. 5 in the evening. Commissioner Williams issues preliminary findings. Based on testimony and evidence presented during these proceedings, this commission finds substantial evidence that First Heritage Bank engaged in systematic discriminatory practices over an extended period. She continues. Training materials containing coded language disproportionately impacting customers of lower socioeconomic presentation. Performance incentive structures directly rewarding discriminatory behavior. Management failure to implement adequate oversight despite documented complaints. She looks at the respondents. Remedies pending final order. First Heritage Bank $4.8 million fine. Mandatory third-party compliance monitor for 5 years. Public disclosure of all discrimination Related settlements since 2016. Victoria Sanders' employment terminated immediately. Barred from employment in California banking industry for 10 years. Robert Harrison formal censure. Mandatory civil rights training. 2-year supervised probation. Richard Morrison personal fine of $350,000. Required to complete 100 hours of community service with organizations serving economically disadvantaged populations. Board of Directors, required to implement independent discrimination review committee with public reporting requirements. The room erupts. Commissioner Williams silences it immediately. Final order will be issued within 30 days. This hearing is adjourned. June 20th. Final order issued. Everything Commissioner Williams outlined. Plus, First Heritage must establish $10 million fund for victim compensation. Must implement anonymous complaint hotline. Must report demographic data on service denials quarterly. Keanu receives settlement. $1.2 million. He donates it entirely. $400,000 to the ACLU. $400,000 to the National Coalition for the Homeless. $400,000 to create the Patricia Taylor Foundation, named for his mother. Scholarships for students who demonstrate commitment to treating all people with dignity regardless of circumstance. September. Keanu walks into a different bank. Pacific Western Credit Union. Routine deposit. $800,000. New motorcycle design licensing deal. He is wearing the same clothes he wore in March. Faded jeans. Concert t-shirt. Boots that have seen better years. The teller looks up. Smiles. Good morning, sir. How can I help you today, sir? From the first moment. Before recognition. Before credentials. Before anything except the simple fact of one human being standing before another. Keanu deposits the check. No extra identification requested. No suspicious questions. No judgment dressed as procedure. Just service. Respectful. Professional. Human. The way it should always be. He rides home along the Pacific Coast Highway. The ocean stretches endless to his left. He thinks about March 14th. About torn paper. About 52 minutes. About the word, sir. Arriving too late to save anyone from humiliation. He thinks about his mother. About her lesson. Never let them make you feel small. Never make anyone else feel small. He thinks about the 53 victims who found their voices. About the training manuals destroyed. About the systems reformed. About the next person who will walk into a bank somewhere, wearing whatever they wear, looking however they look, and receive basic human respect without having to earn it, without having to prove it, without having to be recognized first. That is worth more than any settlement. That is worth more than any headline. That is the only thing that was ever really worth fighting for, because in the end, we are all just people, standing before other people, asking to be seen. Not for what we wear, not for what we own, not for who we know or what we have achieved, but for what we are, human, worthy of dignity, worthy of respect. From minute 1, not minute 52, Victoria Sanders sits in her apartment 6 months later, unemployed, unhireable, her name permanently attached to the most public discrimination case in California banking history. She had options. Could have apologized, could have acknowledged, could have learned. Instead, she hired a publicist who advised her to blame the woke mob. The interview went viral, for all the wrong reasons. She still does not understand what she did wrong, still believes she was just doing her job, still thinks presentation is a legitimate reason to deny someone dignity. That is her punishment, not the termination, not the industry ban, the inability to see, the prison of her own assumptions. She will live there forever. Keanu does not think about her. He thinks about the teller at Pacific Western, the one who said, sir, immediately, without recognition, without hesitation, just because it was the right thing to do. That is the victory. Not revenge, not punishment. Change, one person at a time, one interaction at a time, one, sir, at a time, until respect becomes the default, until dignity becomes the starting point, until no one ever has to wait 52 minutes to be treated like a human being. That is the world worth building. That is the lesson worth learning. That is the story worth telling. Thank you for following this story. Let us know in the comments below if this story has moved you and you would like to stand with us in bringing more voices of truth and hope to light. Please consider supporting our work. Even the smallest gift helps us continue creating and sharing these powerful stories. You can find the donate link in the description. Thank you for following this story! Let us know in the comments below if this story has moved you and you'd like to stand with us in bringing more voices of truth and hope to light. Please consider supporting our work. Even the smallest gift helps us continue creating and sharing these powerful stories. You can find the donate link in the description. And of course, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next chapter we're preparing for you.